Hi guys, I thought I'd do a quick video on how I've set up flaps on Viperjet. Basically, I've got 2-stage flaps which go down slow and go up a little bit quicker. So the first stage, it's not been tuned yet. And then with the second stage, full flaps, there's also elevator compensation as well. And the way that's set up is on trim. So this is the normal flight mode, and the way you do it is you set it up as flaps operate and change the flight mode. So when I go down, my flight mode changes from half flaps to full flaps. And if I really over exaggerate this, so if I in normal flight mode trim the elevator, so put a load in just to show, and then I'll engage full flaps, you'll see I can then trim how much deflection I want in the full flaps. You can do it for mid flaps as well, but you might not need it. But it's not affected at all by the normal flap, so if I put this back down, it'll be more exaggerated. So center those, and that will move down by the same percentage based on the standard trim setting. So if you have to adjust normal flight trim, the flap should still give you the desired effect. A little bit of down trim. And they move slowly with the main flaps too. And the way to do this is I've got my flaps set up on switch SD just in this corner. And what you do is you go first into flight modes, and you set flight mode 1 up as normal, and you got flight mode 2 and flight mode 1 and flight mode 2 on the SD switch. And what you do for the trim is this part here is which flight mode's used for the trims. So flight mode 0 is using flight mode 0 for all its trims on rudder, elevator, aileron, throttle, whichever. It actually says on there when you go in and edit. Yeah, so rudder, elevator. So standard, that's set that, so it would just use the trims on flight mode 0. But what we've got it set to is +0. So any trim you set in flight mode 0, the trims in flight mode 1 will be in addition to what's in flight mode 0. So you can trim for both parts there. And the other thing we do is add fade in, which you match to the flaps down speed, and fade out, which you match to the flaps up speed. There's a little bit of discrepancy if you go from, it's the same going down. So if you watch, because I haven't got any trim on half flaps, it's fine. As soon as full flaps go, they go down at the same rate within reason. But going up, if you stop at half trip flaps, it's a bit slower because it combines that fade out speed with that fade in speed. But if you go straight to normal flaps, it will go at the same rate. So I'll show you that. So let's go half flaps, and it takes 3 seconds rather than the 1 second it should take. So that's what you do in the flight mode screen. The next thing is on the mixer. You set your flap switch to a channel, which obviously you do in the receiver as standard. And what you do in there, if you go to the very bottom, you've got slow up and slow down. And on this, the slow up is actually flaps down and slow down is flaps up. So that's how you do the slow part. I've also instead of doing endpoints, I've got a custom curve for my flaps. So if I go now to the curves, I've got a 3-point flap curve, and I've reversed it here, so that the first one is the up position, middle position, and then full down, just because it just reads right to me, but it doesn't really matter. But this way you can precisely adjust, that's when it's up, so you can get that trimmed in with flush with the wing. That'll be your half flaps, which you can move up and down, and then your low flaps, which obviously you can move up and down as well. That's pretty much all that we've done. The only other thing that I've done, which has nothing to do with flaps, is I've also done a curve on the gear, so that my 3-position switch now turns into a 2-position switch. But other than that, that's it. So yeah, you can have some nice low flaps with trim compensation built in. Hope you found it useful.